Well, I was hoping you could run a plate for us. We are in a really big hurry.
Sure. What's the plate?
29 T
Number.
29 THD03.
Two. 9.
THD03.
T.
HD03.
H.
D03.
D.
03.
0.
3.
Hey, Flash, want to hear a joke?
No!
Sure.
What do you call a three-humped camel?
I don't know. What do you call a
3-humped camel.
3-humped camel?
Pregnant.
Ah.
Ah, yes, very funny, very funny. Can we please just focus on the test?
Hey.
Wait.
Priscilla.
Oh, no!
Yes? Flash?
What do
No!
you call
A 3-humped camel? Pregnant! Okay, great, we got it. Please,
humped?
Everyone knows about the DMV, and I think everyone always has the same reactionary groan every time they hear those 3 letters. I came up with the idea for our project on the DMV because of a recent experience I had. I was trying to get my driving permit. After I finished the online driving course, I registered my information at the DMV so that I would be able to take the test. I got distracted for a few months on other things, so it wasn't until 10 months later that I actually took the test and passed. I went up to get my permit, and everything seemed like it was fine, yet it was strange that the guy that gave it to me didn't say anything about when I'd be getting my actual ID. Fast forward a few months later, I go to the DMV to renew my information because it expires after 1 year. I brought my permit with me, and what I found out was that my permit expired only 3 weeks after I had passed my exam. Yeah, I was practicing driving illegally and didn't know it because the permit issued was only valid for 3 weeks. What's frustrating is that the people working there wouldn't tell me when it would expire or that I should renew my information before the test so that I could have the full time with my permit. It was a very preventable situation, and I now have to start the entire process from scratch, including taking the test again. Super frustrating, and I now understand why people hate going to the DMV.
For me, going to the DMV has always been a pain. Since I started living here as an immigrant, before I had to regularly frequent the DMV for logistics and documentation, a lot of people there were quite kind and helped me with any issues. It did regardless take a very long time and had a lot of back and forth. I remember my mom and dad having some issues that would be spanned over the course of 5 to 6 months, occasionally more pressing issues taking over a year, which was typical. It was also during a place and time when technology was not as good as it is now in the DMV, meaning that there was a lot of paper and led to feelings of insecurity and pressure, especially since we were holding all our documents and important documents with us as we walked in, with really no way of covering or being private about it. People complain often about going to the DMV, and it's a shame that the system that is so important to everyday lives of many Americans is so slow and ineffective. But before we get way too much into that, what does the DMV do? The Department of Motor Vehicles, or DMV for short, maintains driving records, driving identification cards, registers and records the ownership of vessels, licensing and regulating traffic violators, schools and their instructors, regulating manufacturers, transporters, dealers, distributors, vehicle salespersons, administers financial responsibility law, and finally investigates vessel consumer complaints. That's a lot of responsibilities. With all these responsibilities, it is still commonly known to be slow and inefficient. So what can we do? What can we do about it? The DMV is a slow bureaucracy for various reasons. It doesn't pay its employees well. It has no competition, has no incentives for being efficient, and very poor technology. Out of these, the largest factor for the DMV's snail like pace is simply that it has no reason to be better, no competition. This leads to no incentive to improve technology, have better organization, pay its employees more, and to have better employees in general. There are many proposed solutions to making the DMV less slow, more effective, and efficient. One such way is to put more money into technology. Gavin Newsom, for example, provided $186 million to the DMV in order to build new PCs and have IT improvements. Movements like these guarantee that the DMV will be working faster, just due to how fast the technology can complete tasks in place of humans. For example, Pennsylvania's Department of Transportation, PennDOT, and Richards' improvements on the DLC's driving license examiners or downloadable content um, really end up helping in this specific category of technology. According to PennDOT, something as simple as a software upgrade can not only improve the customer experience, but help agencies such as PennDOT operate more efficiently and transparently. As we have seen in the DMVs around us, moves like these are congruent with making more and more of the DMV paperless. DocuSign, for example, is a business involved in helping create more safe online signable documents. Roughly 10 states, according to them, allow for pre-filling applications. 37 allow for online driver's license renewals, and a few in multiple different states include scheduling visits, but these are more rare, although extremely useful. This will lead to more and more forms being completed online. In this way, the DMV is getting faster, but there is still more that can be done. Motions like these aren't just word of mouth, though. They cut wait times across the board by one third, or from 90 minutes to 30 minutes, according to JJ Bot. We can directly influence programs like these by voting for and supporting programs and electives that will enact change within this criteria. All the weight doesn't necessarily fall on politicians and technology, though. There's a lot the voters, drivers, and everyday users of the DMV can do. Firstly, we can create online appointments, avoid times that are extremely busy, such as lunchtime, and go the times that are less busy, Wednesdays and Thursdays. Other things we can do is use online sections of the DMV mentioned earlier that can reduce wait times. We can create appointments that can make getting to the work in the DMV instantaneous, so long as you're there on time, and other additions online to reduce the processing time.
Every time I visit the DMV, I go up to one person to be given a number that allows me to go to another person behind a desk who directs me to a third person, and so on. It would be simpler to just work with one person who can complete all tasks, creating less wait times. But honestly, we need to get rid of the source for disorganization in the DMV. An example of increasing organization would be changing the entire monopoly into multiple individual companies, similar to how AT&T was broken up. AT&T was a legal monopoly that grew in power after 1885. Due to this giant increase in power, we saw antitrust lawsuits arise, eventually leading to governmental involvement. This led to a breakup in the company to smaller companies that acted in place of the larger one. This allowed more new companies to arise, like Verizon and T Mobile, but also led to changes in the services offered to benefit consumers. The DMV should do the same by adding new companies following the breakup, like having AAA do similar tasks as the DMV, for example. On top of this, it's important to note that the levels of organization in well-functioning DMVs might become worse due to this change as companies adapt to the situation. This is similar to how some of the smaller companies following the AT&T breakup could not produce high-speed internet for the first few years when they were initialized due to the pressure of trying to learn how to cope with different structure and lack of resources. Another reason that the DMV is so inefficient is the low motivation of the workers. I think about it. A job at the DMV is extremely monotonous and boring. I'm falling asleep just thinking about the stuff they have to do. But not only is it boring, they are also paid at minimum wage. According to ZipRecruiter, the average salary at the DMV in California is $39,681 per year, or $18 an hour. For the rest of the country, it's even lower. No wonder these people don't care enough to actually be helpful. They have no reason besides their own morals. A possible solution to this problem could be merit pay. Why don't we reward people for being helpful? They should be able to get a bonus or a raise depending on how helpful they are. There's evidence of this working as well. According to the Cicero Institute, the state of Indiana also showed how incentives and performance benchmarks could specifically improve motor vehicle services. Beginning in 2006, the state increased the autonomy of managers in providing DMV services. They are known as the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, or BMV, and paid bonuses to those managers that successfully reduced wait times, resulting in an 80% reduction in average wait, from 40 minutes to only 8. Customer satisfaction also more than doubled, with over 98% satisfied with their experience. Increased pay is the perfect incentive to motivate these employees to actually be helpful. They have a reason to work hard. Hopefully, throughout this presentation, you've been able to see the possibilities of how we can improve the DMV and the many benefits it has to offer. All of these things are very feasible for our government, and it would eliminate the sloth stigma that is stuck with the Department of Motor Vehicles.